What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Roots of Success podcast. I am your host, Nate the Great, and today we have a very special guest, my brother and sensation on YouTube, Hooman. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good
And
to be here.
I appreciate you being on the show. I'm glad we could
Absolutely.
really, make some time to make this happen. I know you're a busy man as it is.
Let's make it happen. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely, man. So for those of you who don't follow, Hooman on YouTube and of course just social media, you guys are missing out on some excitement and some fun, to say the least. Watching his videos, they bring people so much joy. And you got 7.9 is that million with an N
Million with an M.
on YouTube?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Then you got a million on Instagram. I know that thing's taken off.
Yeah, 7.9 million subscribers on YouTube, very close to 8, and 1.1 million followers on Instagram.
Holy cow, brother! That's more. That's more people in some states. You feel me? But typically, man, the way I started off on the podcast, I always have the guests basically give us a backstory on how they got to where they're at. Because I feel as if a lot of people in today's world, they just look at the highlight reel.
Right.
And that's what social media tends to show, is just the pinnacle of somebody's success. And it wasn't necessarily in the beginning, like it doesn't show their struggle or showcase that. So I'm kind of curious myself, and then for the audience and the viewers and listeners, how did you start all this, for one, and then really, tell us a little bit about how you were raised and your upbringing.
For sure. My upbringing was super simple. I was super introverted as a kid. Wasn't really doing much in high school as far as sports or like nothing really. After high school, as my friends are getting different jobs and doing big things, I was trying to figure out what my thing was. Was it going to be college? Absolutely not. I barely finished high school. So I had some friends start opening their businesses or working for businesses and just climbing ranks in that business. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was watching people like Ty Lopez talk about having a business, starting a business at a young age. And I was hungry. I wanted to do it. But the problem was, no matter what business I wanted to start, I would need some initial funds. So I came up with the idea of opening one of those mall kiosks and selling cheap jewelry and rings in malls. I used to live in Irvine, Orange County, which is really good town, pretty wealthy town for the most part, but then which makes starting a business there even harder. So to open up a mall kiosk and sell jewelries and rings and whatnot, I would have needed $12,000 initially of an investment to just get my cart, get my initial supply of jewelry from China. That wasn't going to work because I had no money. I went to my dad and said, "Hey Dad, I want to start a business." He wasn't interested. My whole family has always worked for somebody else. There's been no entrepreneurs. So there's been no mindset of like, $12,000 could potentially be way more money if this goes good. So that didn't go well. So I got back into the whole 9-to-5 job. I got a job at gyms as front desk sales. Until just one day I just couldn't take it anymore. I was working really hard and I was still getting paid the same hourly rate, or I would get paid pocket change for commission when the company I'm working for makes all the money. So I was always looking for that way out. As far as like in business, I was looking for that opportunity to come in and present itself as people talk about, And I think one day, throughout high school, not being super popular, not being in any sports, my idea of fun was either playing video games or watching YouTube videos of people playing video games or prank calls. So I had a few channels I was subscribed to, and I was a fan of those channels. One day, I think I saw either an Instagram post or a video of my favorite YouTuber buying a brand new Jaguar. And the guy must have been like 22 years old. So I was like, how does this guy buy a Jaguar when he's a YouTuber? I don't really understand social media and how or if they make money. So I dug a little deeper and I realized there's a lot of YouTubers with really cool cars. And they have a business. They make money from these videos or these pictures. They're traveling the world. They get sponsorships. People pay them money to promote stuff or travel. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I dug deeper and I was interested in starting a channel. And keep in mind, I was not confident, not creative, not even attractive. one bit. In fact, I'll give you a link to put in the description. If you go to my website, it'll show you before and after pictures. So what I used to look like in 2014, and it's not so much just what I looked like. Just by seeing those pictures, you can sort of have a glimpse into my mindset and my like how life was going for me. You could just tell how from my eyes having underbags and my shaved head that I was not. Life was not going very well. So starting a YouTube channel where I'm supposed to be the funny guy and make these funny videos, when I looked that way was definitely a challenge. But started it out and I saw potential in it and I just kept going. And 5 years later, we have 7.9 million subscribers.
That's deep. You know, it's intriguing the way you started that. You said you're introverted. Because myself as well, I'm introverted too. And I feel like a lot of introverts, one of their biggest, I guess, self-defeating things, and the reason why I say self is that voice in their head. Because with you being in school and you not necessarily being popular at the time, I mean, I'm sure a lot of those boys or friends be hitting you up like, yo, bro, you remember me from high school?
Yeah, we had one here actually an hour ago.
Really? Holy cow. So like it's intriguing to me to see that because introverts, and it's a statistic, and I'm sure you know this, they are proven to be the wealthiest over extroverts, like in the world. And it's intriguing to me because I feel like there's a lot of creativity that goes on in the head that a lot of introverts don't necessarily express. Just like they say, brother, like the richest place on earth is what? The graveyard. It's all the hopes, the dreams, the ambitions. How many books could have been written? How many #1, hit records could have been written, sang and all that? Like, it's crazy to me. I'm curious. I know you mentioned you had jobs. What was the big thing when having that job that you just said, like, I can't do this anymore? What was that thing that basically said, like, enough's enough?
Just the idea of getting paid the same hourly wage, no matter how hard I was working, or getting a good job response when I close a massive deal that again benefited the company, and just the idea of growing this business I was working for that was never going to be mine. I could never just pass it down to my kid. I couldn't just get up and go on vacation for a week. I always had someone over me that I had to deal with their different taste of how they wanted to do things. Just there was no good thing about working for somebody else that I enjoyed. So honestly, I could not have kept that going for a long time. I would have much rather just be homeless than work for somebody else, and that's the truth.
That's deep. You know what used to get to me, man, was whenever I used to ask to go to the bathroom, they're like, nah, man, you gotta wait like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro,
that's true.
Like I gotta go to the bathroom, and you telling me I gotta wait? Like I can't even eat food right now.
Yeah.
Nah, man, you on the clock.
Yep. I hated that word.
Are you kidding me?
I hated that word, being on the clock.
Yeah. And then the bosses got to the point, like with me, it got to the point because I used to work retail at Dick's Sporting Goods. I've worked McDonald's all the way up to selling cars. And whenever I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods, I was always, and I guess it's just a gift and personality of mine, is taking care of other people and showing gratitude. So around the holidays, there's 4 different aisles open for the cash register. And my line was the one that was all the way, like the longest. Nobody else had people. The manager comes up and they're like, guys, you realize that there's a light on here and a light on there, right? And they're like, yeah, but we're here to see Nate because he actually talks to us about things, about life, and not just about transactions. And whenever I heard that, I'm just like, whoa, that's powerful. And for the viewers and the audience, like they need to get that. When you treat other people that they like with the special and just gratitude and with so much love, my goodness, life just works wonders, you know? And then it's inspiring for that. So I found that intriguing whenever you mentioned about the jobs and then you just being introverted. Because now people might look at you and be like, there's no way this guy's introverted.
Yeah.
Like you got millions of views on YouTube, Instagram, social media. How does somebody that's introverted just all of a sudden get on camera? I'm introverted and I want to get on camera more, somebody might say. I'm 16, 17 years old. You see it all the time, brother. You got fans that be coming up to you. You can read their energies. You know how they are. They might get a little nervous. They might get a little starstruck. But it's the way you want them to look, I'm sure, is like, man, I'm just like you. I'm a human being. right? I ain't
Yeah.
nothing, you know? So like from you to them, for somebody that wants to maybe start a YouTube channel or just get more confident in front of a video camera, what advice do you got for them?
So going back to the whole introvert extrovert thing, I heard Grant Cardone talk about it recently with an interview with Ed Milet, and he actually made a pretty good point. He said that he doesn't believe in being introverted or being an extrovert, and I was like, what? But when he went deeper, he was explaining that when you're born, every baby is always happy. Every baby is born playful, laughing at silly things, and just wanting to be happy. It's what we go through in life, the ups and downs, the stuff we deal with, that makes us more introverted or more extroverted. So I think a person can be an introvert or an extrovert depending on how their past 4 weeks, maybe 3 months or 3 years of life has been. Someone who's born in the perfect family, always happy, it's very tough for that person to be an extrovert. I'm sure it's possible. It's just very unlikely for someone who's just had the perfect life. Whether it's done by themselves because they have their own business, good family, good friends. But with me, like now, I would say now I'm way more of an extrovert. I have no problem walking into a place and just meeting people. But when I was starting my YouTube channel, or even before then, when life wasn't really going exactly my way, it was definitely a lot harder for me to meet people because my natural, normal self was not always meeting people. I was at home doing nothing. I was a loser. I had no money. So it was hard to kind of, you know what I mean? I feel like it's very possible to stop being an introvert as long as you just are always out and about doing things. You're active, whether it's through your hobby, through working on your business, around people, around positive energy. I think it's very possible for an introvert to turn himself or herself to an extrovert. So if you're interested in doing social media, but you're shy, you're self-conscious, all that could easily be fixed. Not fixed, I hate that word, fixed. It could be transitioned, I think is a better word. If you're shy on camera, it's very natural. Keep in mind, humans are not made to talk to objects. Like you don't walk into the jungle and see a monkey talking to a rock. So when you're talking into a camera, your mind is naturally telling you there's something wrong here. You're talking to an object. So I think once you do it 10, 15, 20 times for 20 different videos, it's definitely much easier.
That's real. How long would you say you've been, just talking in front of a camera?
5 years. I've definitely been doing it for 5 years. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning it was super tough.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. But recently, well, the first year it was really tough.
Okay.
Because you got this guy, like I said, who had nothing going for him in high school. I was definitely not popular or confident or any of those. And then once I just kept making videos, and when I'm sitting there editing the videos, I would see where I come off as an introvert, where I'm stuttering, where I'm nervous, where I seem uncomfortable. Then the next video, I would pay attention to those things. I'm naturally a fast talker, so if I'm anxious, I naturally talk super fast and I skip letters.
Okay.
So seeing that on camera, I would naturally keep that in my mind the next time I film. Or if my energy is low, if I'm not talking loud enough, I would notice those things. So you could be the most introverted person and still have success on social media if you just understand that you're not an introvert. You've just been living a introverted lifestyle, and to get out of that, you got to do certain things to change your personality and mindset from introverted to an extrovert.
That's true. You don't want to label yourself.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the problem with our society. This is a whole different topic, but we got names for everything. Oh, I have this disorder. It's just like we love putting labels on everything because I feel like as humans, we feel so comfortable when we feel like we know everything. We have time. We have hours of the day for time. Like animals, a tree doesn't care what time it is. A dog doesn't care what hour it is. They just live life in the now. We're super concerned with time, dates, past, future, and that creates fear and regret, which if you don't know how to deal with it, it's super bad. But that's that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm glad you hit on that. I mean, people fear death, but they don't even know when their death date is.
Yeah.
And they can't focus on the present.
Yeah.
Like a powerful book, The Power of Now.
Yep. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
Like that's such an incredible read because it's like it talks about being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Because this is what I got to do this weekend. I'm focusing on tomorrow, and I'm not even focusing on my kids today because I'm watching football.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. No, exactly. I agree 1000%.
So, I'm curious with yourself recording the videos. What made you keep going? Because I'm sure at first you were discouraged. You're probably thinking like, man, I gotta fill in all these. I gotta get my energy up. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. What was the energy that really just said, okay, man, like you gotta keep going, even though you might not necessarily want to do it? Because people don't always want to do it. They get a few views overnight, and they're like, I quit.
Yeah.
Right. So what kept you going?
You put a person who's starving in a room full of food on the walls, but there's no ladder. They'll find a way to climb up there if they're genuinely hungry. So I feel like being an entrepreneur, you can have the best opportunity to start a business. If you're not a hungry person when it comes to like owning your own business, you're just not gonna do it. So with me, I've always been hungry, and I feel like been an entrepreneur in my mind.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just a matter of just finding the path. I didn't have a dad that showed me the path to success, or anyone in my family that I looked at as an example. So I was always just looking for the path. So when I finally found a path, YouTube, and I felt like it was gonna be it, I just stuck to it. And to be fair, I did taste a little bit of success initially when I made my first video and I rewatched it and I put it on Facebook. I did see that, hey, I'm sort of good at this.
Wow.
But I feel like if I had started it and not have had success, I probably wouldn't have kept going. I would have probably found something else. So I feel like the best answer is to that topic is try a bunch of different jobs until you find the one that gives you that feeling that, hey, this could potentially be it. This is worth me putting 3 more months of my time into. Because before YouTube, I'd worked customer service jobs, like working with people at the gym in the front desk, dealing with people, greeting people, dealing with problems. That wasn't my thing. I didn't enjoy dealing with people too much. Then I worked in sales, so I dealt with the whole commission-based pay, which I was really good at. I liked because I could work super hard one day and make a lot of money, and I could slack off one day and make no money and then regret it later and work harder the next day. But again, I'm working commission and I'm collecting pocket change when the CEO or the owner is making all the money. So that wasn't going to be it either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I agree with that too, because whenever I was working jobs, I'm just like, in my head, I'm thinking, man, I'm over here making like, in Pennsylvania, because I'm from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The minimum wage is like $7.25 or something. They might have even lowered it more. And I'm just thinking, man, I'm over here. I got the line all the way going out the door, and other people, the other cash registers, they ain't doing squat. They're not doing anything. I'm just thinking, man, can I get some type of commission? And they're like, nah, we don't do that. This is corporate America.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, shoot, let me try selling cars. And then I realized you can't sell something that you're not passionate about. And then I was trying to sell cars, and people are just like, yeah, I can feel my energy.
Yeah.
So it's inspiring because that's a prime example of like you got to do what you're passionate about. And I know you mentioned about the first video that you released. You said it was like a little bit of a hit.
It wasn't even a hit.
Okay.
It didn't perform well from a business perspective.
Gotcha.
But as far as like actual like creative outcome, I saw the video that I made and I was like, wow, I'm sort of okay at this. I'm able to look at the video and see what I've done really well and see what I could have done better. As in, I knew that I could make better videos moving forward. And the fact that my friends liked the initial video, it did make me feel confident that, hey, if I spend 3 months in this, that I could make really good videos. And then it came down to the understanding of, can I make money with this? And the answer to that was yes, because that's why I started my channel. I saw other people making money with social media. So that's what kept me going initially, just knowing that this could be it. But hell no, at the beginning I didn't get jack SHIT for it. No money, not many views. I was literally begging my friends on Facebook to manually share and comment and like the videos. But you know, that's what comes with being an entrepreneur. You know, at the beginning you just starve. I call it the starvation period.
Wow.
You go through a phase where you're putting out energy, and you're just getting nothing back. And that's the beauty of it. That's why everyone quits at the beginning. That's why people go and get hourly jobs, because it's so easy. You go work, you have a list of things to do, you have a schedule, and it's very easy. You go work, come home, you get your check once a week. There's no stress, or not much stress. With owning your own business, everything can collapse at any second. You know, and you got to go through 3 months, 4 months, or I've met people that had a business for a year, did horrible before it took off.
Yeah.
So it's just what comes with it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer you got to live in the trenches, especially to get to the top. I mean, you can't just, it's one thing to have a desire for the top, but it's another thing to actually put in the work up front, like in the trenches, to actually like record the videos. You know, even if you got to start off with a script, great. You know, like, to be honest, myself, I didn't start off with a script because I realized like I'm genuine as it is. So I didn't want to like label myself as being something else. But if you got to start off as a script to get more confident, I mean, that's what people do on cold calls sometimes on the sales. You know, they're reading off a script like the good old Jordan Belfort, you know, Wolf of Wall Street or something.
Yeah.
And that's how they get more confident. So whatever gets you in the zone, do that. Okay. I'm curious, Hooman, with yourself, what would you consider to be one of your lowest points in your life up to this day?
Definitely before I started my own business.
Okay.
It's when I was jumping around job to job. I would say between like high school and when I started YouTube, so 2011 and 2014. I think the worst part wasn't the fact that I wasn't successful or happy. It's the fact that I didn't know how to get there. I would be very okay with not being successful and being dirt poor if I at least knew how to get there. Because then it's a matter of just doing the work. It's like being super overweight, super fat. But then you know you have a really good personal trainer that knows what he's doing. Then you feel way better about it because it just comes down to doing the work. My problem was I didn't have anyone in my family that I could look at as an example of success and like replicate that person. No one in my circle of friends was either. I was hanging out with a bunch of losers. But then when I found people like Tai Lopez online and these other gurus, and I started to learn from them, that's when things got a lot better. Because yes, I had nothing. I was living at home with $75 in my bank account.
Wow.
But I knew that it's possible to go from this to this because I was watching these gurus share their stories, you know, watching podcasts like this, going to events. So yeah, that was definitely the lowest point, which is beautiful, man. Because if you don't experience the lows, the highs mean nothing. Which is why I think you look at these rich kids that are born in a rich family, they end up just doing drugs and getting arrested and doing dumb things. I don't think they do it intentionally. It's probably because they've never experienced the lows. They've never experienced not being able to afford food or not being able to do things that we do without thinking twice about it, like go to the movies and pay that $20 or get that Starbucks coffee, pay that $4. They haven't been there when they couldn't afford those things. So now that they have millions of dollars, they don't know what it means. You know, they just do dumb stuff and do things and crap. You know, so I think the lows are the most beautiful part. If anything, potentially better than the highs, because it's just what makes you who you are in the future. Yeah. If you deal with it right. Of course, you can just sit there and be like, oh, I'm so sad. My life is so bad. Oh, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing about it. Then it's terrible because you're just sitting there miserable. Yeah. And, you know, you do nothing about it. But if you try, to put it simply, it could be beautiful. It's true.
It's funny. That's the reason why a lot of the successful people and the influencers and the celebrities, they got such compelling stories. You know, you don't just, oh yeah, my story is I was born into a rich family and I'm here. You know, typically it's always from like where they come from up to where they got to this point. I guess another question I'm curious about is life tougher before or is it tougher now for you?
Um, I think it's definitely tougher in different ways, and it's
Okay.
definitely easier in different ways. Really good question, actually. It's definitely tougher in a perspective of things I got to deal with, problems I got to solve with business. There's a whole new um, group of stressors in my life, but then that gets balanced by how many awesome perks I have with having my own business, having the success I have. Um, but I think overall, 1,000%, no doubt, things are better now. Me having done what I've done and the path I chose, which isn't being a YouTuber. It's just having my own business that I grew from a tiny seed into whatever it is today. Um, I could have not started a YouTube channel. I could have started a restaurant chain, or I could have started that ring kiosk. I know 1,000%, no doubt, if I put the same effort, the same mindset towards anything, that I would have figured it out. Because, like I said, I wasn't talented. I wasn't like if you look at like Justin Bieber, for example, he was genuinely talented. Like it was a matter of time before someone found this guy and signed him. So I feel like he was one of those people that just was born an artist. I wasn't born that way. I had to like sculpt myself and learn what I had to learn. So I feel like if I had put that mindset towards anything, I would have succeeded. Because there's just no other way. It's like it's very simple. Success is very fucking simple.
Yeah.
It's like it just comes down to, are you willing to learn what you have to learn? And are you willing to put the work into it? And are you going to be okay with not getting any results for like a year and just feeling miserable? It's just those three things. There's no way you're not going to succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you look at, like, for example, basketball, you look at some basketball players, they're short, they're tiny, they're skinny, they're tiny. Like while some athletes might have like crazy muscle genetics, there's some that have like no, even though they're athletes, like A-level athletes, they have no six packs, they have no muscles, but they're amazing. You could tell they were not supposed to be athletes. Their genetics are not meant to be athletes, but they put the same work effort, if not more, than the ones blessed with genetics, and they're on the same level in competing. So you could just not be born to do what you want to do, but if you put the effort in, literally anything is possible.
That's deep. You know, it's funny when you mention basketball, I think a good old little Nate Robinson, and then I think a good old Shaq right next to him.
Yeah, the guy seems like a doctor, if anything. That guy seems like a doctor than a basketball player. But look at him, he's making millions. I don't know if he's still playing, but he was playing in the NBA.
Yeah.
He was crushing it.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny you mentioned Justin Bieber. Man, yeah, I'm going to be having him on the show here in 2020, early 2020. And his story is just so inspiring because he's a prime example that literally greatness, if you have a desire for it at that young of an age, dude, I mean, how old is he now? Like 23, 24 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And you see, he's one of the biggest influences in the world, right? And I feel as if a lot of people, they just, again, they look at the social media, the analytics, they look at the story views that you get and the YouTube views that you have, and they get caught up in that. And the reason I asked you that question, is it tough before, is it tough now? Because I feel as if a lot of people, they just kind of focus on he's driving the cars, you know, he's living life, you know, he can eat wherever he wants, he can travel wherever he wants, but they don't look at the heartaches that you go through on a daily basis. I mean, you own a business. I mean, you got a lot of people to get in front of whenever you get in front of the camera. It's not like, you know, Johnny or Billy now whenever you first started out, you know? You have millions of people. And that's just, like, it's remarkable. But I want you to really emphasize more on that, on just the whole subject of with the videos that you make and the content that you produce, right? I don't want to say like the struggle, but the challenges that you still go through, especially today more than ever, compared to whenever you first started, you know, like.
Yeah. I got it. I think a big misconception with having your own business is that things aren't so good in my life right now, but when I start my own business, things will be better. That's a huge misconception.
Absolutely.
It's always going to be hard as an entrepreneur. When you have your own business, things will be hard at all times because you're always growing. Like I had no cars when I was a kid, and now I'm driving cool cars, but then those cars cost money. You know what I mean? They're expensive as crap. So if I get comfortable with my business, I'm not going to be able to afford those cars, buying more cars, living in cooler places, traveling to more countries. So if anything, to be entirely honest with you, I'm more stressed than I was with that before when I didn't have my own business. But then again, the perks of having my own business balance that, which makes me okay with having these stresses. But you can't think that, oh, I have no money right now, I'm sad, life sucks. When I start my own business, I'll be happy. No, or I'll be less stressed. That's not true. You're still gonna be stressed at all times, because as an entrepreneur, the only way you could succeed as an entrepreneur is if you understand that the end goal is always a moving target.
Yeah.
There is never happiness in business, because once you have 0 subscribers, you want 10,000 subscribers, and you'll be so happy.
Yeah.
It's not true. The second you hit 10,000 subscribers, you're gonna realize it'll be even better if you had 100K. And then when you hit 100K, oh, 500,000 would be so nice. Oh, if I could just have that M next to my number, 1M would be so nice. 5M, 10M. So I've gone through all those. And it's the same thing financially, or it's the same thing with how many houses you own in real estate. You have to be understanding and be okay with the idea that the end goal is always moving, and the stress is always getting more and more as you scale. If you want to go from making $5 a day to $10 a day, you got to be okay with going from 1 stressor a day to 2 to 5. It's always more. You just got to find a balance of what's causing you the stress and the outcome you're getting, having to deal with all those problems and solving them. So if you have a business for 3 years and it's just nothing but stress and it's clearly not working, it might be worth it to take a couple steps back, take a week off, and just put that aside and start a new business. And then just going through the whole cycle again, seeing if that business is the business for you to spend a year on, still go through that starvation period, but then this time actually get results in it, you know?
Absolutely. Like Meek Mill says all the time, there's levels to it. And, don't just focus on the top level. Focus on the levels you got to step up to get to that point, right? How, because, I'm sure you do a lot of networking, and of course, a lot of people know who you are. So how do you monitor your circle? Because there's a lot of takers out there in this world. A lot of people see the cars, they see, the house that you're in, and just the stardom that you have. How do you monitor who to let in that's genuine, and who to kind of nah, you toxic? You know what I mean?
I pretty much know the second I meet someone, if I want to see them a second time or not. It just comes down to how they make me feel, how they make other people feel, and that's a really simplified answer. But basically, if I meet someone and I'm like, whoa, this person makes me want to just go to my room and get some work done and make more money, then I want to have that person around. And it's not just about money; it's about just being happy too. Like if I see someone and I go to my room or I go home after and just I'm a happier version of myself, or more motivated or whatever, then I want to have that person in my circle of friends. And then I'll have that person in my circle of friends. But if in 6 months they do some slimy, weird thing over money or over whatever, then clearly that person is not worth to have in my close circle of friends.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, but I don't have too many close friends for that obvious reason. I'm definitely big on energy and emotion. So small things like people doing slimy things in my personal life affect me more than it would affect somebody else. I put a lot of value in friendship and things like that, which is good, but it's also bad because you tend to get disappointed more. But friends for sure have had a lot of effect in my success. The friends I have now, when I see them make more moves, make more money, it motivates me to do the same thing. It makes me want to, like I said, go in my room and work more. Where I've had friends or girls I've dated that was the exact opposite. Being around them, I call it, if you read books about it, it's HVE, high vibration energy, or LVE, which is the opposite, low vibration energy. And like I said, when you meet someone, you just know right away which one they are. Some people settle for less. Some people are okay with having those friends, and they don't realize the effect they have on them. And they just, next thing you know, they're 40, 50 years old, hanging out with a bunch of losers, smoking weed and drinking on the weekends and doing nothing. And then they think, how did I end up here? Then there's people who are not talented, who have no money, who are just complete losers, but they start hanging out with big people. and they mimic their success, they mimic their personality and mentality, and next thing you know, 3-4 years later, they're on the same level, or they're on their way to the same level. So I think like our species of humans, we're really weird in that sense, as in we can't live alone. We always need people around us.
That's true.
You know, you look at some animals that could just be in the wild by themselves and just have a great time. I feel like humans, they're the exact opposite. So someone can be a millionaire, billionaire, successful, talented, but that means nothing if you don't have friends around you. Family, friends, whatever you want to call it. Some people settle for less and they're okay with just pets, but I think people, you know, for sure can have a huge impact, good or bad, on your personal or business life.
Absolutely. You know, they say one of the worst forms of human punishment is putting somebody in a room with absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah.
Silence.
Yep. That really is a punishment. Jail.
Yeah.
Prison. Yeah.
Literally. Like it's crazy when you think about it. A lot of people think, oh, I thought the waterboarding was, you know, I mean, that's bad. But whenever you can't talk to nobody, you know, we need human interaction. It doesn't matter how introverted you are.
Yep.
Right? Even us, we need human interaction.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So, it's funny you mentioned books, and I'll kind of leave it with this last question. What is one of your favorite books that has impacted you so much up to this day?
For sure. And books have been super interesting in my life too, because between the part where I was doing nothing and had nothing, and the part where I was on my way to something, to success or whatever you want to call it, there was a period where I couldn't afford mentors. I still wasn't really involved with like other entrepreneurs or being in a circle. And the way I transitioned from loser to like on my way to success and actually making moves is books. Like I said, I wasn't blessed with family or friends around me that I could mimic success from and like mimic their personality and their traits. So books is what really like opened my eyes as to like, hey, maybe the reason I'm a loser is because I wake up at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. and I do nothing but play video games all day. Or maybe the reason I'm shy or not confident is because I don't believe in myself enough, or I'm not aware of my good features. You know what I mean? So books for sure open my eyes a lot. What do I recommend? I've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I feel like you just can't go wrong with reading any book.
Okay.
If you look at it, like me and you just met for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if we'll see each other again or do stuff. I hope so.
Yeah.
But this 30 minutes, you see how like awesome that was, how much we both learned from one another.
Right.
Imagine
Harmony.
10 hours of just nonstop talking. It'd be way better, right? And I'm successful. I'm glad this happened. But imagine if you could talk to like Elon Musk for 10 hours. It'd be crazy, right? Well, you could do that with a book. I'm not sure if Elon has a book, but these other very powerful writers, what people don't understand is that, yeah, it's a book, but you're basically talking to the author for 10 hours. And authors, whether they're a millionaire, dentist, lawyer, whatever, when they write, that's their baby. They genuinely pour everything into it. In an interview, some mentors might hold back some stuff because they have it in their course or they want to sell it to you later.
Yeah.
When people write stuff, it's like they're sitting there getting emotional writing. So it's genuinely like everything from their brain vacuumed out, put into this book.
Yeah.
So like when I started to look at it that way, I started to look at it as like, I'm not reading a book. I'm talking to this millionaire person that's been dead or who's super out of reach in person. But I'm basically talking to them in person. But anyway, to answer your question, probably the biggest book I would recommend to anybody, whether it's for business purposes, personal, is The Power of Now. Like people always say, check out this book, it's good. People always like love bragging about the books they've read. If there's one book I would like put money on that you'll enjoy and like take away things from is The Power of Now. I kid you not, I've read that book. I read that book 3 times back to back. Literally no breaks. I read it. I do Audible. I listen.
Okay. Yeah.
I listened to the whole book, replayed it again, finished, and listened to it again. And because I did it because I knew every single time I would read it, I would pick up things I missed in the previous time. But the book just changed my life. It just, I can literally talk about it for a whole day straight. It literally takes what you think you know about life, it breaks it into pieces, it shatters it, and it throws it away, and it gives you a better, healthier understanding of what life means. Like the quote I said earlier about like a tree not caring what time of the day it is, or an animal not caring what time of the day it is. If you look at a cat, He just sits there, super at peace, super content, just sits there, doesn't shake, doesn't wiggle its head, it just looks so calm.
Mm.
And that's because it doesn't care about time. It doesn't care about past. It doesn't care about future. It's not aware of its approaching death soon. It doesn't care. It doesn't care about its past. There's basic things like that one time it got burnt by fire or chased by an animal, but all the smaller things it just doesn't care about. And I feel like that's huge. I feel like with us these days, with humans, we're so concerned with what happened to us in the past. That one time our manager was rude to us, our boyfriend cheated on us, our girlfriend cheated on us, and that you might not think it has a huge effect on you, but what happens is you're so regretful about your past, which then makes you stressed now, and it makes you worried about the future. So instead of performing really well, editing your video or working on your real estate business, studying for school, learning about business, reading books, watching podcasts, you're sitting there worried about the future because you're stressed about what happened in the past. So the Power of Now did a great job for me, just shattering my understanding of what I thought was like life and how to live life, and then just gave me a much clearer, better version of it. He quotes the Bible, he quotes the Buddhist culture, he quotes the Buddha a lot. Very, very good book. So The Power of Now, I talked about it for 20 minutes, so it must be worth trying. The Power of Now is dope. How to Win Friends and Influence People is dope. I would say those two. There's a million more books, but there's no need to drop all those names. Definitely, I would definitely recommend those two to anybody in any scenario.
Yeah.
It just teaches you how to deal with people and just deal with life as a human being.
I appreciate you recommending those. And the fact that you said that you listen to like audiobooks too.
Yeah.
Because you don't just have to read books, right? You can listen to podcasts, like you said, the audiobooks. Me personally, I was never like a big reader, but then I realized like over the past few months, man, if I read out loud, I comprehend the information a lot more.
Yeah.
So every single book I read, Hooman, now is like I read out loud. And with me reading out loud, I'm over here digesting information. Think and Grow Rich was a book that's super powerful.
Yeah.
Mastermind groups, right? The Law of Success is like the Bible of personal development. It's like 800 doggone pages in that thing.
Yeah.
Crazy. But no, man, I appreciate you sharing that info. Before we end, Hooman, again, where can they find you on social media for the audience and the viewers to follow you?
For sure. I think you just put links wherever you post this, but my Instagram is my first and last name. It's Hooman Nouri, spelled HOOMANNOURI. That's on Instagram. YouTube, it's HOOMAN TV, one word. And if you're interested in mentorship, I don't have like a public place where I have a course you can just buy and download and never see me again. I don't do that stuff. I don't think it's what mentorship should mean. So if you're interested in working with me, something I said triggered a positive emotion in you, or you want to just know more about me or ask me a simple question, hit me up on my Instagram. Tell me more about you. If there's anything I believe that I can do for you to make your life better, we can talk about how to go about doing that.
Appreciate you, brother. And again, don't get discouraged. Again, followers and everything, just because somebody has like a super big following, they're still watching. Okay? If you reach out to them through an Instagram message or anything like that, like, man, if you have a desire, stick with it. That's the key right there.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so funny because you look at someone with, in my case, 9 million followers total.
Yeah.
You will not send them an email or an Instagram DM because you think they get a lot of DMs. In reality, that's what everybody thinks, which makes everybody not send a DM. So there's a very small few that actually do.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks, oh, he'll never see my DM. He has 9 million followers. But some of us will literally sit there and go through their DMs. Of course, there's a bunch of spam. There's like, hey, love this one video, or hey, how many cards do you have, or blah, blah, blah. How much, and there's like ones that start off with, hey, man, I have a question for you. Then like a paragraph. I do this right now. I'm not happy. I notice your life story is very similar to mine. What do you recommend in this situation for me? And then next questions. Those, I mean, you gotta be it's just like, it's hard for me to not want to answer that question. Of course, if I'm busy, I might not see it or something, but whenever I have seen a question like that on my Instagram DMs or email or in person, like it's not even about that person. I genuinely enjoy talking about it because I didn't have that when I was growing up or starting my business. I didn't have a mentor I could ask questions from. So being able to do that to somebody else, it just feels good for me to do that. Not even counting how amazing it feels, knowing how amazing it feels for that person to understand, to get that answer. So I don't know if that made any sense, but
No, I made perfect sense.
where's my coffee?
No, man, I got a lot of respect for you. I really do. And I appreciate you being on the show, dropping all the wisdom that you did. Again, I'm going to provide the links in the description below. Again, check them out. Doing incredible, incredible things. I don't even have to say it. Just look them up on YouTube. You'll see everything there. Man, I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
That
man.
was awesome. Thank you.